Remember when growing food wasn't just a hobby, but a necessity? Your grandparents relied on vegetables that were both nutritious and remarkably easy to grow. Today, we're uncovering 20 beginner-friendly crops that sustained families through generations. Vegetables that offer reliable, rewarding harvests for both novice gardeners and seasoned green thumbs looking for low-maintenance abundance. Snap peas, the garden's sweet reward. Snap peas offer the perfect balance of ease and satisfaction. Your grandparents treasured these sweet, crunchy pods that could be eaten whole, no shelling required. Cold tolerant and productive, you can plant them 6 weeks before your last frost date. In your grandparents' day, these were often the first crops planted, sometimes even while snow still lingered in shady corners of the yard. They need something to climb on. A simple trellis, bamboo teepee, or repurposed fence will do. About 60 days after planting, those crisp, sweet pods are ready for picking. Your grandparents knew this secret well. The more you harvest, the more the plants produce. Children were often sent to the garden with small baskets, returning with sweet treasures that rarely made it to the kitchen, a garden snack that connected generations through its simple pleasure. Lettuce, the quick return crop. For nearly instant gratification, lettuce delivers like nothing else. This cool season crop was a cornerstone in your grandparents' gardens because it provided fresh greens when little else was growing. Seeds germinate within days, and leaf varieties can be ready for their first harvest in just 3 to 4 weeks. Loose leaf varieties offer the biggest advantage. Harvest the outer leaves while the center continues growing, giving you multiple harvests from a single planting. Your grandparents knew that lettuce doesn't need perfect soil to thrive, and they didn't waste garden space. Lettuce grows well in partial shade, making it perfect for tucking between slower-growing vegetables or in spots where other crops might struggle. The succession planting technique they used, sowing small batches every 2 weeks, turned a small garden space into a continuous salad bar, ensuring fresh greens throughout the growing season. Radishes, the 30-day wonder. When your grandparents needed a quick crop in early spring, radishes were the answer. These peppery root vegetables go from seed to harvest in as little as 21 to 30 days, perhaps the fastest growing vegetable in the garden. Their seeds are large enough to handle easily. They germinate within days, and they're one of the first crops you can plant in spring. Your grandparents often used radishes as row markers for slower germinating crops like carrots and parsnips. The radishes would be harvested long before they could crowd their neighbors. For the best flavor, your grandparents harvested radishes when they were young and tender, about the size of a marble for most varieties. Left too long in the ground, they become pithy and overly pungent, a lesson many gardeners learn through experience. The crisp texture and peppery bite added welcome variety to spring meals when other fresh vegetables were still weeks away. Green onions, the perpetual producer. Green onions are practically foolproof. In your grandparents' time, nothing was wasted. Many gardeners simply saved the white root ends from store-bought onions, planted them with about an inch of green still attached, and watched new growth appear within days. Unlike many vegetables vulnerable to pests, green onions contain natural compounds that repel common garden insects. Your grandparents understood this natural protection system, often planting green onions throughout the garden as living pest deterrents. The harvest technique is what makes them truly special. Either pull the entire plant when needed, or simply snip the green tops about an inch above the soil. The plant will regrow, often providing 3 to 4 harvests before needing replacement. This continuous production made green onions a reliable flavor enhancer in your grandparents' kitchens, available whenever a recipe called for that mild onion taste. Zucchini, the overachiever. If there's one vegetable synonymous with garden abundance, it's zucchini. Your grandparents likely had stories about locking their car doors during church in August, not because of theft concerns, but to prevent well-meaning neighbors from leaving bags of excess zucchini on the seat. A single plant can produce 6 to 10 pounds of fruit over the season. For beginners, this means almost guaranteed success, even with a few mistakes along the way. Your grandparents valued this reliability, knowing that even in challenging growing seasons, zucchini would deliver. The key to the best flavor is harvesting when the fruits are still young, about 6 to 8 inches long. Not only are smaller zucchini more tender and flavorful, but picking frequently encourages the plant to produce more. Your grandparents' generation was resourceful with this abundance, developing countless recipes from zucchini bread to pickles to ensure nothing went to waste. Bush beans, the nitrogen-fixing wonder. Bush beans have been feeding American families for centuries, from Native American Three Sisters gardens to Victory gardens during World War II. These compact, productive plants don't require trellising like pole beans, making them perfect for beginners. Direct sow the seeds after the last frost, and within 50 to 60 days, you'll be harvesting tender green beans by the handful. The plants are compact, typically growing just 1 to 2 feet tall, perfect for small spaces or container gardens. Your grandparents understood the magic happening underground. Bush beans are nitrogen fixers. Through a symbiotic relationship with soil bacteria, they capture nitrogen from the air and convert it to a form plants can use. This not only feeds the bean plants, but also enriches the soil for future crops, a natural fertilization system that maintained garden productivity before commercial fertilizers were widely available. Kale, the cold weather champion. While kale may seem like a trendy superfood, it's actually been a garden staple for generations. Your grandparents valued this leafy green for its incredible cold hardiness. Kale actually gets sweeter after a frost, making it one of the few vegetables that improves as temperatures drop. It grows in full sun or partial shade, tolerates a wide range of soil conditions, and resists most pests and diseases. Plant it once and you can harvest for months, simply picking the outer leaves as needed while the plant continues to grow from the center. Nutritionally, kale provides vitamins A, K, and C, along with calcium and antioxidants. This nutritional density made it valuable to previous generations who understood the importance of growing foods that provided maximum nutrition from limited garden space. In your grandparents' kitchens, kale was a versatile ingredient, added to soups, stews, and casseroles, providing vital nutrients during winter months when fresh vegetables were scarce. Garlic, the plant it and forget it crop. Garlic might be the ultimate set-it-and-forget-it vegetable. Your grandparents likely grew this aromatic bulb not just for its culinary uses, but also for its reputation as a health tonic and natural medicine. Unlike most vegetables planted in spring, garlic goes into the ground in fall, usually October in most regions. Simply break apart a bulb into individual cloves, plant them pointy end up about 2 inches deep, and mulch well. The cloves establish roots before winter, remain dormant during the coldest months, and burst into growth in early spring. By summer, each clove will have multiplied into a full bulb. Garlic is naturally pest resistant. It's often used as a companion plant to repel insects from more vulnerable crops. Your grandparents recognized this protective quality, strategically placing garlic throughout the garden to create natural pest barriers. When the lower leaves begin to yellow in early summer, it's harvest time. Cure the bulbs in a dry, airy location for a few weeks, and you'll have flavorful garlic to use throughout the year. Potatoes, the versatile staple. Potatoes are one of the most productive food crops per square foot of garden space. Your grandparents likely grew them as a reliable staple that could be stored for months without refrigeration, providing carbohydrates and nutrients through winter when fresh food was scarce. They're adaptable to different growing methods, traditional trench planting, containers, straw bales, or even specialized growing bags. Unlike many vegetables that start from seeds, potatoes grow from seed potatoes, pieces of potato containing eyes, sprouts. This intuitive propagation method made potatoes accessible even to novice gardeners. The growing process offers a unique satisfaction. As the plants grow, You hill soil or mulch around the stems, which encourages more potatoes to form along the buried portion. Few garden moments match the excitement of digging potatoes. It's like a treasure hunt where every turn of the soil reveals more edible gems. Your grandparents understood this simple pleasure, the satisfaction of unearthing a meal that had been growing unseen beneath the soil. Spinach, the nutritional powerhouse. Spinach grows quickly, often ready for harvest just 30 to 40 days after planting. It thrives in spring and fall when temperatures are mild, making it one of the first vegetables you can plant and one of the last you can harvest. The nutrition profile is remarkable, high in iron, vitamins A and C, and numerous antioxidants. Your grandparents valued this nutritional density, understanding that homegrown spinach contained significantly more nutrients than its store-bought counterpart. During the lean months of early spring, when winter stores were dwindling but summer's abundance was still months away, spinach provided vital nutrition to bridge the gap. Like lettuce, spinach can be harvested by picking outer leaves as needed or by cutting the entire plant about an inch above the soil and allowing it to regrow. This cut-and-come-again method can provide multiple harvests from a single planting, a technique your grandparents used to maximize production from limited garden space. Beets, the two-for-one vegetable. Beets offered your grandparents' generation something special, two distinct vegetables from one plant. The roots provided the familiar earthy sweetness, while the greens offered a nutritious alternative to spinach or chard. They grow in cool or warm weather, tolerate partial shade, and aren't particularly fussy about soil. Each seed is actually a cluster containing several embryos, which is why thinning is necessary. Your grandparents wouldn't waste these thinnings. The baby beet greens were perfect for salads, providing an early harvest while waiting for the roots to develop. Beets mature quickly, often ready for harvest in just 50 to 60 days. Unlike many root vegetables that must be harvested all at once, beets can be pulled as needed, allowing the remaining plants to continue growing. This staggered harvest was particularly valuable before modern refrigeration, providing fresh food over an extended period, rather than all at once. Chives, the perennial provider. Once established, chives return year after year with almost no effort. Your grandparents valued this perennial herb for its reliability and versatility in the kitchen. They thrive in full sun, but tolerate partial shade, aren't particular about soil type, and rarely suffer from pest or disease problems. Plant them once, and they'll produce for years, gradually forming larger clumps that can be divided and shared with neighbors, a garden tradition that has connected communities for generations. The mild onion flavor enhances countless dishes. Beyond their culinary uses, chives serve another purpose in the garden: pest deterrent. Their strong scent confuses insects looking for host plants. Your grandparents understood this natural protection system, often planting chives near vulnerable crops as living pest control. Cherry tomatoes, the gateway garden crop. Cherry tomatoes have introduced countless people to the joys of gardening. Your grandparents likely grew these sweet little fruits for children to snack on straight from the vine, a garden tradition that creates lifelong memories. They're less susceptible to the cracking, blossom end rot, and disease issues that plague larger tomato varieties. Their smaller fruit size means they mature quickly, often producing ripe tomatoes weeks before their larger cousins. A single healthy plant can produce hundreds of tomatoes throughout the season, making them one of the highest yielding crops for small spaces. Your grandparents appreciated this abundance, using cherry tomatoes not just for fresh eating, but also for preserving, drying them in the sun, or canning them whole for winter use. The sweet, intense flavor of sun-warmed cherry tomatoes picked fresh from the vine remains one of gardening's greatest pleasures, a simple joy that connects us directly to our food. Swiss chard, the heat-tolerant green. Swiss chard bridges the gap between spring and fall greens, thriving when lettuce and spinach have succumbed to summer heat. Your grandparents valued this colorful vegetable for its remarkable productivity and ability to produce from spring through fall frost, and even beyond in milder climates. It grows in full sun or partial shade, tolerates a wide range of soil conditions, and resists bolting in hot weather. The cut-and-come-again harvest method works perfectly. Simply cut the outer leaves about an inch above the soil, and the plant will continue producing new growth from the center. Beyond its ease of growing, Swiss chard offers ornamental value with its rainbow of stem colors. The Bright Lights variety, with its multicolored stems in a single planting, was a particular favorite in cottage gardens, where beauty and utility went hand in hand. Your grandparents understood that a vegetable garden could be both productive and beautiful, with Swiss chard often planted in visible locations where its colorful stems could be appreciated. Cucumbers, the summer refresher. Cucumbers bring a special joy to summer gardens, the satisfaction of harvesting something crisp and refreshing during the hottest days of the year. Your grandparents likely grew them not just for fresh eating, but also for pickles that would preserve the summer harvest for winter enjoyment. From seed to first harvest takes just 50 to 70 days, and once they start producing, a healthy plant can yield cucumbers every few days for weeks. This quick return on investment builds confidence for new gardeners, just as it provided reliable production for your grandparents' generation. The key to sweet, tender cucumbers is consistent moisture. Your grandparents knew that irregular watering leads to bitter fruit, a lesson many gardeners learn through experience. For the best flavor, harvest when they're still relatively small, about 6 to 8 inches for slicing varieties and 3 to 4 inches for pickling types. Regular harvesting encourages the plants to produce more fruit, extending your cucumber season well into fall. Carrots, the underground treasure. Carrots offer a unique satisfaction. The moment of pulling them from the soil to reveal their bright orange roots is pure garden magic. Your grandparents understood this simple pleasure, growing carrots not just for their nutritional value, but also for the joy they brought to children discovering how food grows. Your grandparents likely used the old trick of mixing carrot seeds with radish seeds. The quick sprouting radishes mark the rows and can be harvested long before they compete with the developing carrots. This companion planting technique maximized garden space while solving the practical problem of marking slow germinating seeds. The flavor of homegrown carrots is incomparable to store-bought versions, especially when harvested young. For the sweetest carrots, your grandparents knew to wait until after a light frost in fall, which converts starches to sugars. A garden secret passed down through generations of successful gardeners. Turnips, the forgotten fast food. Turnips have fallen from fashion in modern gardens, but your grandparents likely valued them for their quick growth, dual-purpose nature, and storage capabilities. From seed to harvest takes just 30 to 60 days, depending on the variety. Like beets, turnips offer two vegetables in one, the familiar root and the often overlooked greens. Your grandparents harvested a few leaves from each plant throughout the growing season, careful not to take too many at once, which would reduce root development. These nutritious greens added variety to meals when other vegetables might be scarce. For the mildest, sweetest flavor, harvest turnips when they're small, about 2 to 3 inches in diameter. Fall-grown turnips, harvested after a light frost, are particularly sweet and can be stored for months in cool, humid conditions like a root cellar or refrigerator crisper, a storage technique your grandparents relied on to extend the harvest through winter months. Basil, the aromatic companion. Basil brings Mediterranean sunshine to any garden. Your grandparents grew this fragrant herb not just for its culinary uses, but as a companion plant for tomatoes, where it improves flavor and repels pests. The seeds germinate rapidly, providing harvestable leaves within weeks. Your grandparents knew the secret to abundant harvests: pinch stems just above leaf pairs rather than taking individual leaves, creating bushier, more productive plants. Beyond sweet basil, they might have grown several varieties: lemon basil for tea, Thai basil for Asian dishes, or purple basil for ornamental value. Each offered unique flavors while deterring garden pests with their strong scent. This dual-purpose nature, both culinary treasure and garden protector, made basil a staple in traditional gardens where every plant needed to earn its keep. Pole beans, the vertical producer. Pole beans transform garden fences and trellises into productive growing spaces, a vertical gardening technique your grandparents likely used to maximize limited garden space. These climbing varieties can produce 3 times the harvest of bush beans in the same ground space, making them perfect for small gardens. What made pole beans a favorite in your grandparents' gardens was their extended harvest period. Unlike bush beans that produce their crop all at once, pole beans provide a steady harvest over a much longer period, often producing for 6 to 8 weeks or more. This extended harvest was particularly valuable before modern refrigeration, providing fresh vegetables throughout the summer without overwhelming the kitchen all at once. The vertical growth habit offers another advantage. The pods hang freely in the air, making them cleaner and easier to spot during harvest. Your grandparents appreciated this practical benefit, especially during wet seasons when ground-level vegetables might suffer from soil-borne diseases. For the easiest experience, create a simple teepee of 7 to 8 foot poles, plant 4 to 6 beans around the base of each pole, and watch them climb. As they grow, they'll create a living green structure that's both beautiful and productive. Rhubarb, the perennial producer. Rhubarb earns its place on this list because once established, it provides decades of harvests with almost no effort. Your grandparents likely had a rhubarb patch that returned year after year, often outlasting the gardeners who planted it. It thrives where many other crops struggle, tolerates partial shade, and rarely suffers from pests or diseases. Plant it once and it will reward you with spring harvests for years to come. Your grandparents understood this long-term investment, often planting rhubarb in a corner where it wouldn't be disturbed by annual tilling. Its tart stalks provided the perfect acid component for preserves and desserts when few other fruits were available in early spring. Just remember what your grandparents always warned. While the stalks are delicious, the leaves are toxic and should never be eaten. Which of these vegetables did your grandparents grow? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more gardening wisdom. Until next time, happy growing.